Hello everybody. Now it's time to cover my favorite bit of European politics, Brexit. Let's do it up, folks. Let's do it up. Okay, from Reuters it says, Britain set for December 12th election to break the Brexit deadlock. Britain will hold its first December election in almost a century after Prime Minister Boris Johnson won approval from Parliament on Tuesday for an early ballot aimed at breaking the Brexit deadlock. After the European Union granted a third delay to the divorce that was originally supposed to take place on March 29th, the United Kingdom, its Parliament, and its electorate remained divided on how or indeed whether to go ahead with Brexit. Johnson, who had promised to deliver Brexit on October 31st, do or die, demanded a December 12th election after Parliament, where he has no majority. Frustrated his attempts to ratify the last-minute divorce deal he struck with the EU earlier this month. Yes, he actually got his divorce deal. He got his Brexit deal signed up, ready to go, and then Parliament. And I already said, two reasons. One, because some of them are actually globalists who want to stay in the EU, and some are just too afraid of the consequences of a Brexit. They don't see it going smoothly. I think they're cowards. Nothing good comes without a little pain. That is the fact of the matter. But in a rare parliamentary success for Johnson after a string of defeats, his short bill calling for a December 12th election was approved 438 to 20 in the House of Commons. The bill now goes to the House of Lords. It's time to unite the country and get Brexit done, Johnson said after meeting Conservative Party lawmakers who cheered him. Before the vote, Johnson had said Parliament was obstructing Brexit and thus damaging the economy by preventing investment decisions and corroding faith in democracy. The first Christmas election in Britain since 1923 would be highly unpredictable. Brexit has variously fatigued and enraged swaths of voters while eroding traditional loyalties to the two major parties, Conservative and Labour. Some politicians feel an election so close to Christmas could irritate voters, while campaigning and getting voters out could be hampered by cold winter weather and darkness setting in by mid-afternoon. Ultimately, the electorate will have a choice between an emboldened Johnson pushing for his Brexit deal or a socialist government under Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn renegotiating the deal before another referendum. The election result will be announced in the early hours of Friday the 13th. If no party wins conclusively, the Brexit deadlock would continue. Friday the 13th, huh? Well, there's not much hope for you then, is there? Bad luck, I'm afraid. Looks like Jason Voorhees is going to come in and he's going to kill Parliament for you. Yeah, right. No, just kidding. On a side note, the actual date of Friday the 13th, everyone's afraid of it. Really, nothing ever happens on Friday the 13th in my experience. It's really no big deal. I think the worst that's ever happened is occasionally I just feel a little weird physically. Beyond that, nothing. And that could be anything. Could be a minor infection. Could be getting sick. Who knows? But all kidding aside, this Brexit, that science says stop having this brexistential crisis. Brilliant pun, by the way. Whoever wrote that sign is an absolute genius. But this stuff is literally causing their government to become extremely dysfunctional. People are losing faith in democracy. Britain cannot function as a nation while this is going on. Therefore, Boris Johnson has two major decisions ahead of him. Power on through and get that Brexit, or allow Britain to be continually ruled by Brussels and continue to be part of the European onion. I'm not going to stop calling it that. And considering the stubbornness of this guy, he's probably just going to try and power on through. You know he is. Christmas election. After 4 years of arguing over Brexit, almost all British politicians now agree on an election is needed to break the cycle of inaction that has shocked allies of a country once considered a bastion of stable Western capitalism and democracy. Not anymore, apparently. An election, though, could decide the fate of Brexit as well as the main players, Johnson 55 and his rival Corbyn 70. When Johnson's predecessor Theresa May bet on an early election in 2017, she lost her slender majority, a failure that ultimately prevented her from ratifying her Brexit deal in Parliament and sank her political career. Johnson's Conservatives are ahead of Labour by an average of about 10 percentage points in polls this month, though pollsters underestimated the support for Brexit in 2016 and admit that the models they use are riding beside the Brexit furnace. Both major parties will have to fight on at least 3 fronts against each other, while the hardline Brexit Party, led by Nigel Farage, seeks to poach Brexit voters, and the Liberal Democrats seeks to win over opponents of Brexit. This will probably be the most unpredictable election I've ever known, Anand Menon, director of the UK in a Changing Europe, told Reuters. Is it Brexit or is it not? We don't know. The second election is as volatile as ever, and thirdly, the potential for tactical voting to go wrong is very high, given the Leave remains split, he said. Leave remains split. Brexit up in the air. Labour swung behind an election earlier on Tuesday. I'm ready for it, Corbyn told Parliament. He frames Labour as a socialist alternative to the inequality and close relations with U.S. President Donald Trump, that he says characterizes Johnson's premiership. Change is coming. As Johnson moved closer to an election than he has ever been in his tumultuous 3-month premiership, the EU granted a Brexit delay to January 31st, but warned it might be the last. The EU27 has formally adopted the extension, and maybe the last one. Please make the best use of this time, outgoing European Union Chairman Donald Tusk said on Twitter. Among voters, there was some relief that the Brexit debate might be ending soon. We've just got to bring this to some sort of resolution, commuter Matt Finch, 36, said outside London's Charing Cross rail station on Tuesday. We've had many votes in the last 12 months in Parliament, and I think in general election might be a way to sort it all out. Yes, sort it all out before it's too late. But this Brexit thing is literally causing one of the greatest democracies in Western civilization to become extremely dysfunctional. It makes us all look bad. Because non-democratic and Far Eastern countries have a tendency to look at democracy as a whole by the example of one. I know that's not exactly fair, but it is the truth. So if Britain is held up as their example, what does that say for the rest of us? Besides, when you're the world's 5th largest economy, you do realize that your impact on the rest of the world is pretty significant. To the point where literally anything and everything you do is going to have some impact. Perhaps big, maybe small. But the point is, just get the Brexit over with, alright? Just get it over with. Anyway, peace!